Ilara, now in her 90s, sits in a rocking chair, in silence listening to the fireplace crackle in the night, ere her eyes now hazed over with age is remembering her 2 lifetimes, and the fate she escaped from her cold, wicked family. These are her inner thoughts as they creep into her mind. The last thing Ilara felt was the cold, not the physical chill of the stone room, but the hollow, aching void where her soul used to be. For 20 years her parents, the Duke and Duchess of Valerius, had told her she was their miracle light, the only one who could keep her fragile adopted sister, Serafina, alive. As Ilara lay dying, her skin translucent and her heart stuttering, she heard the truth. "Is it done?" her father whispered, not to Ilara but to the shadow in the corner. "The pact is sealed," a rasping voice replied. "The true daughter's soul has been fully transferred. Your precious Serafina will live for 1,000 years. The wicked one's dark fate is fulfilled." Her mother didn't weep. She smoothed Serafina's glowing, healthy hair. "Thank the gods. I always knew that the wretch we pulled from the river was a curse. To think we had to endure her wicked presence just to save our real treasure." The river, memories Ilara hadn't known she possessed surged. A wicker basket, a rushing current, and a shaman with eyes like storm clouds who had saved her, teaching her that her touch could mend bone and spirit. The shaman had called her a master, but her parents had found her, played on her guilt, and convinced her that Serafina was her other half. They hadn't saved her from the river, they had just waited for her to become a useful battery. With a final, jagged breath, Ilara felt her spirit shatter. "If I am wicked," she thought, her vision fading to black, "then let me be the darkness that swallows you whole." Ilara gasped, her lungs burning with the sharp, sweet scent of incense. She wasn't in the cold stone dungeon. She was in the solar of the Valerius estate, 5 years earlier. Beside her sat Serafina, coughing daintily into a lace handkerchief. Her parents were there, looking at Ilara with that same loving expression that she now recognized as the look a farmer gives a prize cow before the slaughter. "Ilara, darling," her mother cooed, clutching Ilara's hand. "Serafina's chest is tight again, just a small touch, just a bit of your light to help your sister through the night." Ilara looked down at her hands. They were glowing with a soft golden hue, the golden light they craved. In her past life she would have poured her very essence into the girl until she fainted. Not today. Ilara pulled her hand back as if she'd been burned. The golden glow didn't fade, it turned a sharp, piercing violet. "No," Ilara said, the word echoed like a physical blow. The Duke frowned, his mask of fatherly concern slipping. "Excuse me, Ilara, don't be selfish, your sister is suffering." "My sister?" Ilara stood up, her height suddenly imposing. "You mean the girl you traded my soul for, the one who thrives while I wither?" The room went deathly silent, her mother's face turned ashen. How do you know about?" "I know that you threw me into the river because a prophecy called me wicked," Ilara said, her voice dropping to a dangerous simmer. "I know that you only brought me back to use me as a living sacrifice for a demon's pact. And I know that Serafina isn't fragile, she is a void that will never be full." Serafina stopped coughing. Her eyes, once wide and innocent, narrowed into something sharp and hateful. "You're supposed to save me, that's why you exist." Ilara smiled, and it wasn't a kind expression. "You were told my fate would be dark. You were so afraid of a wicked daughter that you created a monster instead." She reached out, but instead of the warm, healing touch they expected, she tapped into the shaman's forbidden arts, the ability to take as well as give. With a flick of her wrist, the invisible tether connecting Ilara's life force to Serafina's snapped. Serafina shrieked as the years of stolen health began to rapidly reverse. The golden light didn't belong to her, and without Ilara's constant stabilization, it began to burn her from the inside out. The Duke and Duchess rushed to their adopted daughter, but as they touched her, the demonic pact they had signed began to pull from them instead. "You wanted a miracle." Ilara walked toward the door, her cloak billowing like a shadow. "Look elsewhere, I am no longer your light. I am the dark fate you worked so hard to deserve. The healer who saves everyone but herself is a saint. The healer who chooses who lives and who dies, that is a queen." As she stepped out into the night, heading toward the mountains where her shaman mentor waited, Ilara felt a weight lift. For the first time in 2 lives her soul was her own, and it was brilliantly, beautifully dark. In a subterranean ritual chamber, cold and smelling of iron, Ilara lies on a stone altar, her body a mere husk. Her golden light, the mana of her very soul, is being drained into a floating crystal. She hears her parents whispering. The Duchess complains about how tiresome it was to pretend to love the river child for 20 years. The Duke confirms the deal with a shadowy entity, Ilara's soul in exchange for Serafina's eternal youth. Ilara remembers the shaman who saved her from the river as an infant. She realizes the shaman didn't make her wicked, he made her powerful, and that power is what her parents feared and coveted. As the last drop of her life force leaves her, she makes a silent vow, if there is a next time I will be the poison in your cup. The sun-drenched solar of the Valerius estate, 5 years before her death. Ilara wakes up mid-sentence. She is 19 again. The sunlight is blinding and her hands are glowing with a soft, warm light. Her mother, the Duchess, is holding her hand, looking worried. Serafina is reclined on a chaise longue, pretending to struggle for breath. Ilara feels the familiar pull, the way her parents groomed her to feel guilty for being healthy while her sister suffered. But now, she sees the demonic tether between Serafina and the shadows. For the first time, when her mother asks for just a little light, Ilara doesn't give it. She recoils, the golden glow snapping shut like a book. Serafina collapses during dinner. In the past, Ilara would have rushed to her side, draining her own vitality to stabilize her. The Duke slams his hand on the table, demanding Ilara do her duty. Ilara remains seated, calmly eating her meal. Why should I mend what is already rotten? Ilara asks. The parents are stunned. The obedient tool is gone. Ilara mentions the river. She mentions the wicked prophecy. She watches her parents' faces turn from anger to genuine terror as they realize she knows the truth of her birth and their betrayal. Serafina enters Ilara's private chambers at midnight, no longer playing the victim. Without Ilara's light to mask her, Serafina's skin looks grey, and her eyes have a predatory, demonic glint. Serafina threatens to have the Duke execute Ilara if she doesn't resume the healings. You are just a battery, Ilara, a battery for my greatness. Ilara uses the forbidden arts the shaman taught her, not the art of healing but the art of equal exchange. She touches Serafina's arm, and instead of giving life, she pulls the stolen vitality back into herself. Serafina shrivels, screaming as the beauty she stole begins to fade in real time. The Duke and Duchess try to stop Ilara from leaving. They call for the guards, labeling her the wicked one from the prophecy. Ilara releases her full aura. It isn't the golden light they wanted, it's a brilliant, terrifying violet. She reveals the demonic contract to the household staff and the visiting nobles, exposing her parents' pact. The demon comes to collect its debt. Since Ilara the payment is no longer willing, the demon looks toward the parents and Serafina. Ilara walks out the front gates as the manor begins to wail with the sounds of a debt being paid in blood. She looks toward the horizon where the shaman's mountains wait. You wanted a wicked daughter, she whispers. I hope she was worth the price.